The battle for the White House enters its final stretch with Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton fighting for every vote. It's brand momentum as a Ugandan-based startup helps businesses create a new marketing strategy. And the first major exhibition in the United States on the art of the Quran opens in Washington, D.C. Africa 54 starts right now.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Vincent Makori. This is Africa 54. Well, as the race for the White House enters its final stretch, outgoing U.S. President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama are campaigning aggressively on behalf of Democrat presidential candidate Hillary Clinton. Michelle Obama appeared with Clinton Thursday in North Carolina, where she is deadlocked with Republican Donald Trump. Meanwhile, Trump rallied his supporters in the swing state of Ohio. VOA's Zlati Tahok has more.
As the campaign approaches the finish line, Clinton remains in the lead, but most polls do not show her gaining a significant advantage over Trump. This means the outcome is still uncertain, and both candidates need to fight for every ballot they can get. That was the message Michelle Obama delivered Thursday in North Carolina.
We're going to vote. We're going to vote early. We're going to stand in line.
Obama said Trump's claims of the election being rigged are nothing but an attempt to discourage voters from going to the polls. She warned that failing to vote could undermine Clinton's chances of winning, even though she is the more qualified candidate.
She has more experience and exposure to the presidency than any candidate in our lifetime. Yes, more than Barack, more than Bill. So she is absolutely ready to be commander-in-chief on day one. And yes, she happens to be a woman.
In her own speech, Clinton repeatedly called on North Carolinians to exercise their right to vote, saying the economy, immigration, marriage equality, the environment, and even education are crucial issues.
Affordable college education is at stake. And not only that, relief from student debt that you already have is at stake. So if you believe, as we do, that everyone should be able to afford to go to college and graduate, then you've got to get out and vote in this election.
Trump also encouraged supporters to vote. Ignoring the polls that show him trailing his rival, he told voters in Ohio that a new poll by Remington Research shows him 4 points ahead of Clinton in the Midwestern state. He criticized Clinton's political record and blamed NAFTA, a trade deal signed by former President Bill Clinton in the early 1990s, for job losses in Ohio.
Just imagine what they'll do given the chance to once again control the Oval Office. And we've had enough, honestly. I think we've had enough of the Clintons, in all fairness.
Trump promised the cheering crowds in Toledo, Ohio, to bring back jobs that he said were exported to Mexico during the Clinton presidency. Zlati Tahok, VOA News, Washington.
Well, with Donald Trump lagging in the polls, Republican lawmakers are beginning to urge voters to re-elect them as a check on a possible Clinton presidency. Democrats, meanwhile, argue Hillary Clinton would need allies on Capitol Hill to enact her agenda. VOA's Michael Bowman reports.
Nolan would give Hillary a blank check to run up trillions in new debt and job-destroying taxes.
Republicans are blitzing the airwaves with ads that all but concede Democrats will retain the White House.
We can't let extreme liberal Kim Myers and millionaire Martin Babinek rubber stamp Hillary Clinton's agenda in Congress.
It says that the Republican Party is coming to terms with the fact that they're going to lose the White House in a couple of weeks.
Political analysts say Republicans are in survival mode, hoping a Trump loss will not torpedo the party's congressional candidates.
Donald Trump's falling poll numbers are starting to infect down-ballot races.
While Trump usually walks on stage alone, shunned by Republican lawmakers, Democratic congressional candidates are flocking to Clinton for a moment in the spotlight.
It's so important that we elect Hillary Clinton and Democrats up and down the ticket on November 8th.
And a boost from Clinton herself.
What I love about Maggie is that she's independent. She knows how to find common ground and how to stand her ground.
President Barack Obama is also campaigning for Democrats around the country and mocking the Republican message.
You should vote Republican anyway because we'll check Hillary's power. We'll be a counterweight. No. A vote for them is basically more gridlock. That's their argument. That's not a good argument.
Trump, meanwhile, is not hiding his annoyance with Republican lawmakers.
But you have to get out and vote, and that includes helping me re-elect Republicans all over the place. I hope they help me, too. Be nice if they help us, too, right?
Publicly dismissing Trump's chances of winning could be risky for congressional Republicans.
They are really stuck between a rock and a hard place. If they run away from Trump completely, they're going to alienate one important group. If they fail to run away from Trump completely, they'll alienate another group.
While Democrats would need to pick up 30 seats to win a majority in the House of Representatives, they would need a net gain of just 4 to control the Senate if Clinton wins the White House, a prospect Republicans appear to be coming to terms with. Michael Bowman, VOA News, Washington.
Well, now let's take a closer look at some of the deeper issues surrounding this campaign, including immigration. VOA's Esther Gidoyuwat has a report.
It has been called the longest and most contentious U.S. presidential campaign. College student Andrea Migliorisi says he has made up his mind on who to vote for.
I think I'll vote for Hillary because I think that Trump, while comparing the two, Trump seems to me to be too much of a divisive candidate. And I think that with Hillary, we have more of a path forward.
Polls show that both candidates have high negatives. Trump has been critical of the media and continues to allege the election system is rigged. And many voters still have trust issues with Clinton. Loic Youth is a Washington, D.C. resident.
I just think it's a way for him to stay relevant. Like, he's picked fights with Megyn Kelly, Clinton, and now he's lost the whole support of the Republican Party.
The only person that said anything that's really important to me is Donald Trump as far as trying to ban abortion.
And in a more reconciliatory tone on immigrants, Trump addressed dual American-Israeli citizens, promising to stand with the Jewish people.
My administration will stand side by side with the Jewish people and Israel's leaders to continue strengthening the bridges that connect not only Jewish Americans and Israelis, but also all Americans and Israelis.
And as the poll date draws near, his Democratic rival Hillary Clinton is not leaving anything to chance.
Every vote counts. Just ask my friend, former Vice President Al Gore. And Lake Worth can make the difference. Florida can make the difference. And if people get out and vote, we will have a victory on November the 8th.
For Janet Mugisha, a Ugandan national, neither candidate has a clear policy for Africa.
I still don't see how their policies are going to impact the African continent.
Latest polls indicate the gap between Trump and Hillary is narrowing. There are more than 160 Republican leaders who do not support Donald Trump and have vowed not to vote for him. But his base supporters remain unshaken and want to see him occupy the White House come January 20th, 2017. Esther Gidoyuwat, VOA News, Washington.
Well, thank you. Now, turning now to Iraq and the battle for Mosul. The Iraqi forces explored a network of tunnels and uncovered a bomb-making facility Thursday in a village near Mosul that was recently retaken from the Islamic State terrorist group. Now, the finding is offering a glimpse of the challenge they will face as they move closer to the city. More than a week into the offensive, Special forces are still several kilometers east of the city and are facing stiff resistance, with Islamic State fighters firing mortars and machine guns and sending armored suicide truck bombs across the arid plains. Once inside the small, sparsely populated villages near Mosul, Iraqi forces must contend with explosive booby traps and hidden snipers. The fortifications are expected to grow even more lethal and daunting once they enter Iraq's second-largest city. Since the 2011 overthrow of autocrat Zain El Abidine Ben Ali, Tunisia has achieved free elections, a new constitution, and a spirit of compromise that is between secular and Islamist parties. However, since early 2016, social pressure over jobs has exploded into mass protests, a reminder of the conditions that helped to inspire the Tunisian revolution. Now, in a recent interview with VOA's Mohamed El Shinawi, Fadel Abdel Kafi, Tunisia's Minister of Development, Investment and International Cooperation, talked about opportunities his country offers for foreign investors, especially those from the United States.
When we came 1 month ago to the government, we started by going through a parliament, and we had the green light for this new investment law. This is to have a fast track and a one-stop shop for these investors. And as I said, today Tunisia needs to have an investment from private sector, locally and overseas. And our aim is to explain to our friends that Tunisia could be a gateway to the MENA region, to Africa also. We are improving in security, really, since 1.5 years, I would say. But we need more commitment from our friends to help Tunisia to be in a better situation. As you know, Tunisia is not very far from Europe, and the security of Europe is also the security of Tunisia.
Well, that was Fadel Abdel Kafi, Tunisia's Minister of Development, Investment and International Cooperation. Well, we want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we covered during the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa54, and check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Find me on Twitter at VOA Vince Makori. Coming up, 60 of the most important manuscripts of and about the Quran are on exhibit here in Washington. Stay with us.
Health news and notes. This is Living Better.
A bus on the streets of London. It looks ordinary enough, but when viewed through an infrared camera, the image reveals pollutants the human eye can't see. Andreas Zinsmeister is with FLIR Systems, which makes special imaging cameras used to check for carbon dioxide.
What we recognized is that we have the ability to make you see the invisible.
Being able to see where toxic fumes linger could be invaluable to public health, says Professor Martin Williams of King's College.
Technologies that help people to visualize these things are really going to help to get the message across.
Andreas Zinsmeister says it's difficult right now to put CO2 imaging in a smartphone. However,
if technology really moves forward and we assume that it might fit in smaller devices, that would definitely be interesting to look into first.
The World Health Organization recently reported that air pollution is linked to millions of premature deaths worldwide. I'm Martin Seacrest for VOA's Living Better.
For the first major exhibition in the United States of the art of the Quran has just opened here in Washington. The exhibition features some more than 60 of the most important manuscripts of and about the Quran, created over more than 1,000 years across the Islamic world, that is from North Africa to Turkey, Iran and Afghanistan. VOA's June Saw has more on the art of the Quran.
This large manuscript, created in ink, color, and gold on paper, greets visitors at the entrance to the exhibition.
It certainly is one of the biggest. It's certainly the heaviest. It weighs some 60 kilos, and it is quite remarkable. Many of these manuscripts were created primarily for display. They were given as gifts to mosques and mausolea.
The majority of the 66 manuscripts on view are from Istanbul's Museum of Turkish and Islamic Arts. Some are from the Freer and Sackler Gallery's permanent collections. The work's origin ranges from 7th century Damascus, Syria, to 17th century Istanbul. Some were transferred to the museum from the tombs of Ottoman sultans.
They were created for some of the most powerful sultans, rulers in these regions. And eventually, after many years, they were acquired by the Ottoman royal family.
Masume Farhad, the Freer and Sackler's chief curator and curator of Islamic art, says although each manuscript contains an identical text, they are in different formats and styles. The mastery and skill of the artists have transformed each manuscript into a unique work of art.
For instance, there is a manuscript by the calligrapher Yaqut, who is probably one of the greatest calligraphers to have ever worked in the Islamic world from the late 12th, early 13th century.
The exhibition showcases the beauty of the calligraphy and the intricacy of the illuminated decoration by early Quran scribes. It also tells the individual stories of some of the manuscripts, their makers, and original owners.
We hope that visitors, whatever their interests, will come and take away some of these stories. Some may be interested in the calligraphy, some may be interested in particular calligraphers or in the art of illumination. And the way that the exhibition is organized, we hope that we have something for all our visitors.
The Quran exhibition continues through February 20th, 2017, and also offers additional resources on a website, available both on-site and online. For producer June So, I'm Carol Pearson, VOA News, Washington.
Well, if you own a business in Uganda or elsewhere and you're thinking of a new marketing strategy for your company, Brand Momentum, a Ugandan-based startup, is ready to fulfill your needs. VOA's Pondiho takes us inside their operation.
Brand Momentum was created nearly 5 years ago with one goal in mind: to craft exciting brands for promising startups and companies on the rise, to help them make their mark in the world. Brand Momentum is a full-service brand management firm headed by Diana Nsereko.
We started by targeting small and medium companies because we saw there was actually a gap, a niche for innovative products that are affordable for them. And so we took up the challenge and we said, you know what, let's come up with things. Since we are graphic designers, we came up with a team, as you can see here, that we can come and address these issues and give them affordable products that are innovative, that will help them stand out of the crowd and actually be able to boost their marketing and promotion.
Branding is one of the most important aspects of any business, large or small. Nsereko, a graphic designer by trade, says that having an effective brand strategy gives you a major edge in increasingly competitive markets.
We actually help a company have a face, an attractive face that can attract its audience. So we create products from logo design, the naming and the colors that will target and actually speak to their audiences.
Priscilla Namubiru leads the production teams. She says your brand is your promise to your customer. It tells them what they can expect from your products and services, and it differentiates your offerings from your competitors.
Sit down and we strategize on who to target, what to sell, what is catchy, what promotes, and so we come up with strategies and proposals for companies. And we are able to strategize on which people are we going to see this year, this month, and what exactly are we going to sell to them.
Brand Momentum prides itself on having a 99% client retention rate and a team of talented and experienced graphic designers who strive to create brands that engage, entertain, and help to boost interest in your business and vision. Brian Semutu details some of the firm's services.
It helps
people to actually go online. You can actually order business cards and they get printed and get delivered to you. Or let me say letterheads, anything you use in office.
Brand Momentum employs more than 10 full-time workers and has positioned itself among Kampala's finest places to work. Paul Ndiho, VOA News, Washington.
Well, it's time now for a short break. Still to come on Africa 54, Les Amazons d'Afrique sing to curb violence against women. We'll be right back.
If you've just joined us, I'm Mariama Diallo, and here is a quick recap of today's headlines. In China, Sudanese Foreign Minister Ibrahim Gandour visits his Chinese counterpart in Beijing. In Kenya, a knife-wielding man is shot dead outside the U.S. Embassy in Nairobi after he attacked and injured a Kenyan police officer. We stay in Kenya, where the country's airways has posted an operating profit of $8.88 million for the 6 months that ended in September. Finally, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, sculptor Freddy Simba, known for using bullet casings collected from the country's war zones, recently presented his latest collection in Kinshasa. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Well, it's time for our Friday Music Makers segment, and today we present Les Amazons d'Afrique, an all-female collection of Malian musicians saying no to violence against women through music in that enchanting West African sound.
Les Amazones sont un collectif.
Les Amazones is a collective of engaged women who have important issues that they're fighting for. Notably, we all say no to violence against women through music.
Les violences faites aux femmes dans le monde, ça existe depuis longtemps.
Violence against women has existed throughout the world for a long time. One day, our creative director, Valerie Malo, she suggested that perhaps it's time to take action. The objective was to get female musicians together who would want to play this music. And then we were lucky to find that we are all women who have different, for example, we have griots, different kinds of griots who speak to different groups of people. Kandia Kouyaté speaks to upper class, to the president, famous and powerful people like that, because she's used to singing for them. Rokia speaks to our generation, even younger. Mariam Kone, who plays the blues, speaks to those who appreciate that kind of music. In my case, I play jazz. I speak to that audience. And Munaisa, who plays drums, that speaks to all women who realize that, hey, look, women can play this instrument. So, in fact, yes, we're lucky to have different profiles that speak to all sectors of the population. And then there's Neka, there's Ina Moja, there's Mariama from Senegal, there's Mariam Doumbia, Mama Niketa. We're all here. We use our influence to send our message.
Pour faire passer le message.
We're in this like globalization that makes women tend to become independent. There's a beautiful evolution occurring, even if it's moving at a snail's pace. We need catalysts to accelerate the independence process, notably les Amazones d'Afrique. Women, for example, in Congo or even in Syria, women suffer from violence everywhere in the world. So yes, our music aims at crossing borders. It should cross borders. We're not only talking about African women, we're talking about all women. We're interested in this cause as it applies to all women. We're always fighting, not with guns or other weapons. That's it, our voices, our drumsticks, the drums. Yeah, and we pass our message on by entertaining people. We're seen, we're beautiful, we're engaged, we're involved. Absolutely, you said it, sister. Things are going well with les Amazones d'Afrique. Oh, yeah. Oh.
And that's our show for today. Thanks a lot for watching. How about a little bit more of Les Amazones d'Afrique?
Welcome to the Voice of America's News Words.
Does this word mean something good has happened?
Unleashed. The president is sending Secretary of State John Kerry to the Middle East to help build a coalition to defeat the militants who have unleashed a wave of violence that has included attacks on Iraq's Christians and other minority communities, and recently the videotaped killing of American journalist James Foley.
Unleashed means to let something very powerful happen quickly.
It is like taking a leash off a dog and letting it attack someone. In our story, the militants unleashed or set off a wave of violence.
Usually, unleashed does not mean something good.
So, the next time you hear the word unleashed, you will know what this news word means.